Through American Pickers, he became renowned and wealthy. After that, everything fell apart. Mike Wolfe lost $5.8 million in his divorce. Following their intense fight, his friend Frank passed away. His store has suddenly shut down for unknown reasons. Also, many viewers wonder if the program is authentic. Nothing like what you see on TV about Mike Wolfe is happening. The reality is now emerging, and it involves furious neighbors and false penalties. The 11th of June, 1964 was the birthdate of Mike Wolfe in Joliet, Illinois. He and his siblings Robbie and Beth were raised in Bettendorf, Iowa after moving there as children. His mom, Rita, worked hard to provide for the family while raising them alone. Wolfe never allowed a lack of funds stop him. Unexpected locales presented him with opportunities. He redirected his path via backyards and alleys to evade bullying on his way to school. There he initially observed things that others had discarded, things that had been discarded. He found a banana seat bike in the weeds behind a neighbor's house when he was just 6 years old. It was $5 when he took it out, cleaned it, and inflated the tires. Cash wasn't the only thing at stake. It was the excitement of discovering something worthwhile in an area where nobody had gone looking. Something within of him was ignited at that instant. He devoted more time and energy to the pursuit of antiques, vintage furniture, and bicycles as he grew older. Wolfe was fiercely committed to fixing up rusted bikes and damaged chairs, even when other youngsters were enjoying sports or watching TV. His mom saw his talent and gave him permission to utilize the garage. To him, it was more than simply a hobby. To refurbish and sell was a skill he was acquiring. Before he devoted himself fully to antiques, his passion for bicycles even prompted him to launch a bike business. By the year 2000, Wolfe had made up his mind to make a living from his longtime pastime. His unusual picking excursions led him to start antique archaeology in LeClaire, Iowa. The business was stocked with intriguing treasures. He devoted his days to discovering long-lost artifacts by investigating barns, garages, and deserted structures. The business saw consistent growth until the 2010 debut of American Pickers on the History Channel. Everyone loved the show right away. Wolfe and his team's quest to unearth long-lost artifacts across the United States was a hit with viewers. However, antiques were not the only subject. The past owners, the tales they held, the workmanship, and their history were all important. With the rise in popularity of American Pickers, the field of antique archaeology flourished. Wolfe established a second outpost at a repurposed automobile assembly facility in Nashville, Tennessee. It evolved into something more than a retail outlet. It was a place where those interested in history might feel a connection to the past. On a basic notion, Wolfe established his firm. Track for historical artifacts, fix them up, and put them in the hands of those who will value them for what they are. Because of his keen eye for rare artifacts and his talent for relating their histories, antique archaeology became much more than just a store. In addition to his antiques business, he also started the apparel line 2 Lanes, which was influenced by road journeys through rural America. On the subject of children's historical exploration via collecting, he penned Kit Pickers. However, his fervor continued beyond that point. Wolfe had bigger plans than merely peddling antiques. Preserving America's history was his goal. He was instrumental in restoring monuments and historic structures through initiatives such as This Place Matters, a partnership with the National Trust for Historic Preservation. In LeClaire, he preserved the building's historic integrity while converting a 1947 Chevrolet dealership into a store. By revitalizing long-abandoned structures in Columbia, Tennessee, he demonstrated that historical artifacts need not be sacrificed for preservation. Mike Wolfe began the process of creating American Pickers well in advance of the filming of any scenes. He was more than your average reality TV personality looking for stardom. He had a knack for finding useful things among the trash and was known to be a picker all his life. Wolfe scoured rural America for decades, discovering artifacts in abandoned homes, barns, and garages. He was a story collector as much as an object collector. The excitement of discovery and the story behind each artifact were captured on video during his excursions. He used the videos as a foundation in his pitch to TV networks. It wasn't a performance he was peddling. A method to make history interesting by relating it to the common people who unwittingly preserved it was his vision, and he was trying to sell it to us. Wolfe tried to sell his concept for 5 years, but nobody was interested. Although he was met with rejection from most networks, he persisted in his quest to find antiques. Something about his work stood out to him. His doggedness paid off in 2009. Within a few short months, American Pickers was formed after the History Channel saw its potential. The show was a smashing success from the moment it debuted on January 18, 2010. 3.5 million people tuned in to watch the pilot. Following Ice Road Truckers, it was the most successful launch for the History Channel. That figure nearly doubled to 4 million in a matter of weeks. The time was ideal. American Pickers rode the coattails of previous successful history-based reality TV shows like Pawn Stars. However, its unique selling point was its heart. The exhibition was about more than just commerce. It was all about the people, the locations, and the history that was lying around, waiting to be discovered. Working together, Wolfe and Frank Fritz were instrumental in the show's success. They had been friends since middle school and had a common interest in antiques, which brought them closer together. They shared a love of the chase and an upbringing without father figures. It was only fitting that Fritz serve as co-host of American Pickers when Wolfe created the show. His laid-back demeanor and passion for oddball memorabilia, from vintage toys to oil cans, brought an extra dose of warmth and fun to the program. He had a natural talent for putting collectors at ease on camera, which allowed him to elicit their most heartfelt stories. The show seemed real because of their relationship. Neither the drama nor the exchanges were staged. The audience related because it was just two buddies doing what they liked. Fritz had an indisputable impact on the show's early success, even when tensions caused him to leave in 2021. The distinctive concept of American Pickers was notable, but the show's charismatic hosts also contributed. It was more than just a treasure quest in each episode. It was an adventure across time. Wolfe ensured that the show delved into the cultural importance of an object rather than only its monetary worth. Who was the owner? Where did it originate from? What made it so crucial? Using this kind of narrative, commonplace things were given extraordinary significance as conduits to bygone eras. Sustainability was another theme of the performance. Profit was only one motivation for picking. It was all about repurposing old things. Even in this day and age of throwaway culture and mass manufacture, American Pickers showed people that history matters. American Pickers revolutionized television history programming from the start. Museums and textbooks have nothing to do with it. The story revolved on common people, long-lost artifacts, and the narratives concealed in the unlikeliest of locations. Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz went on a joint 10-year junk-turning mission with American Pickers, transforming rusting objects into priceless treasures. Although they worked well together, their friendship began to deteriorate behind the scenes, which affected the show's ratings. Things had finally snapped in 2020. It was in that year when Fritz's appearances on the show ceased. No one could put their finger on it at first. Despite months of anticipation, he never returned to the show. Fritz was formally revealed on Instagram in July 2021. He remarked that their voyage had its share of ups and downs, but that they will miss Fritz. Nothing Fritz heard or read could be believed. He referred to Wolfe's claim as bullshit in an interview. Fritz then came clean about the 2-year silence between him and Wolfe. Fritz had extensive back surgery in 2020, but Wolfe still hadn't checked up with him. According to Fritz, he was aware that my back was hurting, yet he still didn't check in with me. After knowing this person for more than 40 years, he felt abandoned. The conflict was about more than just keeping quiet. In Fritz's opinion, Wolfe had become the show's exclusive emphasis. He said it was 1000% slanted in his favor. His analogy for their chemistry was a band in which Wolfe would play lead guitar and he would play rhythm. However, matters were exacerbated by health issues. Fritz had suffered from Crohn's illness for a long time. It debilitatingly affected his strength and caused him constant agony. After undergoing back surgery in 2020, he was unable to return to driving. He developed a dependency on opioids throughout that period. Fritz allegedly did not pass the network's required drug tests because of the network's stringent policies on drug usage. They now had even more justification to remove him from the program. Even so, Fritz maintained that he hadn't left. Someone had dismissed him. Public displays of animosity ensued. Fritz felt that Wolfe had neglected him in favor of Robbie Wolfe, Fritz's brother, who had begun to make more appearances on American Pickers. Wolfe, in contrast, said that he had wished Fritz well and even urged him to get assistance. He likened the breakup to the death of a sibling and said it hurt like hell. As of mid-2021, it was a done deal. Fritz has officially left, according to the History Channel. The fans were outraged. Since the show's launch in 2010, they had watched him and Wolfe journey throughout America for more than 300 episodes. The absence of him made the show seem different to many. People began requesting his return through petitions, but by that point, Fritz's health had taken precedence over television. Sadly, it all changed in July 2022. Fritz was rendered largely crippled and bedridden after suffering a major stroke. Nothing he did helped his situation. He died at the age of 60 on September 30, 2024. It was said that in the end, Wolfe remained by his side through it all. They had a clandestine rendezvous in May of 2023. Upon Fritz's departure, Wolfe took to Instagram to pay respect, describing him as a dreamer. He had a sensitive side that matched his humor. Mike Wolfe became famous for his work on American Pickers, which involved searching through backyards and barns finding long-lost artifacts. However, his reputation has encountered obstacles throughout the years. His business practices have come under fire from some viewers who doubt the show's veracity. Even more recently, he faced criticism for trying to revitalize a tiny community. He is unfazed by these scandals. His perception has been transformed. In 2016, on American Pickers, one of the most heated arguments ever took place during the episode Shelby, Indiana the Barn. In this episode, Wolfe and his co-worker John Sulla ventured to Alabama in quest of a Chevrolet neon sign. Rather, they found an extremely rare 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500, a vehicle that had apparently lain dormant for more than 4 decades. As soon as word got out, admirers started to wonder if the find was real. Spectators flocked to social media platforms like Facebook and Reddit to discuss the implausibility of the car's on-screen appearance. Some thought the show's producers had studied places in advance and planned their discovery in order to up the ante. Some have noted that there is always preparation in reality TV, but this incident in particular seemed contrived. Additional financial information heightened skepticism. About $75,000 was the value of the Mustang even in bad shape. It would cost more than $100,000 to restore it. The owner declined Wolfe's offer to purchase it, citing its sentimental importance. Speculation was further fanned by this. While some viewers thought the setup was staged to heighten tension, others insisted that twists like this were what kept them engaged. In any case, it quickly rose to prominence as one of the most renowned discoveries in the annals of American picking. Wolfe has taken heat for his business tactics both on and off the program. According to a 2022 client, Antique Archaeology bowed out of a deal in order to take a better offer. After completing their online purchase and receiving a confirmation, they were unexpectedly refunded without any explanation. Because they were suspicious that they had accepted a greater offer, they decided to lodge a formal complaint with the Better Business Bureau. I only desire that they continue to uphold the purchase as they first did. In response, Antique Archaeology stated that on January 21, 2022, 2 individuals had purchased the identical item hours apart. The system was able to update the inventory before both payments could go through due to a technical problem. Due to this, the second order was reimbursed. Unfortunately, not all of the consumers were satisfied with this explanation. The store's critics weren't exactly fresh air. A lot of people have complained about the exorbitant costs throughout the years. Some have brought up the fact that plain old signs go for $900 and branded socks cost $18. Some have questioned Wolfe's ethics in light of these concerns, despite the fact that the firm takes in around $900,000 annually. His group pledged to fix the website after the online order scandal to avoid future controversies. The most vicious critique Wolfe has ever received, however, is unrelated to either his program or his shop. The focus is on his part in the transformation of Columbia, Tennessee. He paid $700,000 for a historic property there in 2022. Returning it to its original state cost him more than $1 million. That was only the first step. He also purchased a number of properties. Along with a bike store and a 2-lane vacation rental, he aims to attract new businesses to the community. His efforts are appreciated by some, but not everyone is pleased. Some think he is altering Columbia's character and increasing property prices. When news of a 6-story condo development for $93 million leaked, fears intensified. Some locals are concerned that the allure of their sleepy little town is fading. For some, the prospect of being priced out of their hometown is a real concern. Wolfe views his job as a means to both provide economic opportunity and preserve history. On social media, he often shares progress reports on restoration projects and showcases his collection of historic cars, which includes a 1959 Chevrolet El Camino valued at $42,400. The criticism, however, remains unabated, despite his affinity for old treasures. For many, the ongoing discussion over his influence in Colombia begs the issue of what he really accomplished. At what point does redevelopment become gentrification? Despite Mike Wolfe's years of devoting himself to the quest for America's lost artifacts, he has had his fair share of personal challenges. In 2012, he tied the knot with Jody Faith, and they spent almost 10 years creating a life together. Among the many difficulties that their marriage encountered was Jody's fight against stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. She received the news in 2013, and after years of therapy, she was finally able to say goodbye to cancer in 2020. But their relationship didn't endure once they got over that dispute. Their divorce was finalized by December 2021 after they separated in June 2020. Irreconcilable conflicts were given as the cause. The settlement was a major deal. Jody was given North Carolina and Tennessee real estate and more, over $5.8 million in cash. American Pickers also paid her $2,100 each month in child support and royalties. Charlie, their daughter, was granted primary custody to her. Mike, nevertheless, has maintained his role as a busy and committed dad. He shows his devotion to Charlie and his love for her by posting photos of the two of them together on social media, even though he has a very busy job. Though it was a challenging phase, the divorce ultimately helped him mature. Mike reached the Big 60 on November 6, 2024. The event was commemorated by his girlfriend, Letitia Klein, who shared touching remarks about his journey and achievements. This was more than simply another birthday for Mike. It was an opportunity to take a step back and consider the bigger picture. For decades, he had traveled the world in search of antiquities and tales of long-lost civilizations. However, his attention was now elsewhere. He spoke on how important it is to prioritize genuine relationships above work and how much he values the little group of individuals around him. He was still deeply committed to choosing, despite this shift in viewpoint. He continued to traverse the nation in pursuit of unique artifacts and fascinating individuals with extraordinary tales to tell. He was just as fast after turning 60. If anything, it enhanced his gratitude for the trip. In his never-ending quest to unearth long-lost artifacts and pieces of history, Mike Wolfe has never slowed down. However, an unforeseen obstacle greeted 2025 at the outset. His antique shop, Antique Archaeology, in Nashville abruptly shut down in February. The official explanation was that he had no control over the gas leak that had occurred due to neighboring work. The crew at the business took to social media to apologize and reassure consumers that they were looking into the matter. No official date for their reopening has been announced as of late February, despite their promises of updates. As soon as the game began, fans began asking questions. For some, the closure was just transitory and will be lifted shortly. Some others questioned whether there was a greater conspiracy at work. As the retail industry as a whole struggled and American Pickers saw a decline in ratings over the past few years, rumors began to circulate. Would this indicate that Wolfe was changing his mind? Are there other problems at the shop than simply the construction? These were the types of inquiries that were made, despite the fact that no official announcement suggested anything beyond a temporary end. Besides selling antiques, the Nashville business has served as more than that for many years. Located in the city's historic Marathon Village, it has long been a destination for antiques and TV show enthusiasts. This business, along with its sibling in LeClaire, Iowa, has played an important role in Wolfe's brand, serving as a tangible manifestation of his love for rediscovering lost artifacts from the past. Running a brick-and-mortar store isn't without its hazards. Sudden closures, price increases, and shifts in consumer preferences are all possibilities, regardless of how well a company does online. Everything contributes to the longevity of a store. Has been around for a while and knows what's going on, supporters are hopeful the Nashville store reopens soon, though he hasn't said anything about the store's future. Wolfe had a considerably busier year overall, with the store closure being only a minor event. Personal loss and major life upheavals have already made 2024 an emotionally charged year. Frank Fritz, his lifelong companion and former co-star on American Pickers, died in September. In the last few years, their relationship had become more difficult. Tensions had been building between them since Fritz's departure from the program in 2020 owing to health reasons. Even though they had their disagreements, Wolfe was there for him in his last moments, holding his hand. Reminiscent of their shared past, it served as a poignant reminder. They had created something extraordinary by joining forces, transforming their passion for antiques into a program that touched the hearts of millions. Wolfe, however, shows no signs of slowing down despite these introspective shifts. In February of 2025, shooting will restart in South Carolina on American Pickers, bringing the show back on the road. Producers have extended an invitation to residents, urging anybody with intriguing anecdotes or unusual possessions to get in touch. The program is making an attempt to inject new life into itself, which might prove to be significant, considering the decreases in viewership that have occurred over the past several years. However, Wolfe has never doubted the efficacy of his actions. In the aim of discovering something unique, he has scoured garages, barns, and abandoned storage facilities for decades. He is busy growing his empire outside of the program as well. He continues to put a lot of effort into his boutique rental property, Two Lanes Guesthouse, and his vintage-inspired gathering place for classic automobile fans, Columbia Motor Alley. Amidst all of these endeavors, his unwavering dedication to delving into the past never wavers. Even though American Pickers is where Mike Wolfe is most recognized, his love of history extends well beyond the realm of television. His lifelong passion for antiques has blossomed into something far more for him. He has devoted his life to conserving history in ways that millions of people may enjoy, whether by authoring books or repairing structures. Kid Pickers, a book he penned to encourage children to learn about history via artifacts, is one of his most notable non-television endeavors. Old things, in his view, have tales waiting to be discovered, and he hopes that children will realize this. Discovering lost artifacts, learning about their history, and appreciating the significance of these artifacts are all skills they learn about in the book. Wolfe sees the world through the eyes of a storyteller who wishes to transmit information to subsequent generations. This represents his perspective as both a collector and a person. He founded Antique Archaeology, a business that goes beyond just choosing, since he loves history. Inspired by his travels, he offers a variety of accessories and clothing. American Pickers fans may purchase caps, t-shirts, and more that capture the show's essence of exploration. However, this goes beyond being just commerce. This allows others to share in his adventure and become a part of the world he has created. One of his brick-and-mortar locations is in LeClaire, Iowa, while the other is in Nashville, Tennessee. Not only are they stores, but they are also treasure troves of one-of-a-kind artifacts he has collected on his travels. These locations breathe new life into the past. However, Wolfe's interests extend beyond the mere acquisition and trade of antiques. His mission in life is to preserve the sites of historical significance. Together with the National Trust for Historic Preservation, he uses his fame to bring attention to historic structures and sites that are in danger of being destroyed. He has been an outspoken supporter of the This Place Matters movement, which seeks to preserve the nation's historic landmarks for future generations. His dedication to preservation extends well beyond mere awareness raising. He takes action by buying up old buildings and fixing them up on his own. He purchased a long idle 1947 Chevrolet dealership in Columbia, Tennessee. He repaired it with great care, preserving its original character, rather than demolishing it or making it completely contemporary. And now, it is a storefront. More significantly, it demonstrates that historic structures may be revitalized without destroying them. Wolfe has also invested millions to help smaller communities thrive again. He is cognizant of the fact that communities suffer irreparable harm when historic structures vanish. They experience the loss of their identities, companies, and memories. For that reason, he has put his money into communities like Columbia, Tennessee, and LeClaire, Iowa, assisting in the development of these communities' futures, in addition as repairing their structures. A major undertaking of his is Nashville's Big Backyard, an endeavor aimed at fostering economic development in tiny villages with less than 5,000 inhabitants. With the support of this initiative, the towns of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and Lipes Fork, Tennessee, are able to entice distant workers and visitors. Wolfe is ensuring that these areas do more than simply survive. They prosper by getting funds for marketing, tourism, and infrastructure. He is deeply committed to preserving history in all its forms, not only buildings and antiques. Additionally, he has a strong passion for collecting and restoring old motorbikes. Bike riding became his passion at the age of 13. He had an obsession the minute he bought his first motorbike in secret, away from his mother's knowledge. Currently, he has around 130 vintage motorcycles in his collection. A 1934 Harley-Davidson VL and a 1913 Indian Twin are two of the most uncommon motorcycles in his collection. Due of their association with the dawn of motorized transportation, Wolfe finds special fascination with American bikes manufactured before 1920. He takes great care to maintain these bikes, not only acquire them. Wolfe is one of many collectors that want to preserve vintage motorcycles in their original state rather than restore them to a showroom condition. All the dings, dents, and rust have a narrative to tell in his eyes. Preserving their genuine character, in his view, is of equal importance to keeping them operational. He doesn't only admire motorbikes, he gets behind the wheel of one himself. He travels the nation on antique motorcycles, stopping to see beautiful scenery and meeting other bikers who share his passion for the past. In fact, he has worked with museums like his North Carolina's Wheels Through Time to display unique and historically important motorbikes. Wolfe went public in January 2025 at Meacham Auctions in Las Vegas with the sale of 62 motorcycles that were part of his collection. It wasn't only about making a sale. He was refocusing his attention on it. He decided not to hoard everything but rather to focus on certain periods in motorbike history so that other collectors may have a chance to possess unique items. To him, these motorcycles are more than simply tools. In his view, they encapsulate the pioneering and adventurous spirit of a bygone era via their storytelling. There is a common thread running across Wolfe's endeavors, whether they include collecting bikes, repairing buildings, or selecting antiques. His goal is to prevent the erasure of history. He hopes that people would appreciate antiques for their significance rather than their rarity or price.